Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gaiman. Workday Charity Open Round 3 Instant Reaction Pod. And it's going to be a lightning pod because we have a short turn around tomorrow. Let me welcome in my partner in crime. It's Kyle Porter. What up, KP?
Not much. We have not talked since we had the Jordan Spieth incident. You can timestamp that, Jacob.
24 seconds.
Yeah, it might be a new record. On Friday, where he yells "freaking first cut." Has anybody talked about that on this podcast yet?
We briefly brought it up. I can play it if you want. Let me cue it up.
Yeah, let's go. Let's hear it.
Leaves that about 15 feet below the
freaking
hole.
first cut. Golly.
He goes, freaking first cut. Golly.
Freaking first cut. He should be. We're the only podcast talking about him right now, so he should be praising us rather than bemoaning us.
He is either the biggest fan of the show or he hates us. I don't know. But freaking first cut, man.
Freaking first cut kept him from making the cut at Muirfield Village.
Yeah, that was so real quick. That I think Greg texted us like, did anybody hear Jordan Spieth say that? I'm like, I'm gonna clip this right now. I will find this. What hole was it? And I found it in like 2 seconds. It was amazing.
It was so good.
Now we are going off in threesomes on Sunday. We're going off both tees. And we're going off from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. because there are storms a-brewing in Dublin, Ohio. So remember, you'll be able to watch the CBS stream for free starting at 11 a.m. Eastern time. That broadcast is available at cbssports.com, the CBS Sports mobile app, and the CBS Sports app on OTT devices. That means Apple TV, Roku, and Fire TV. Then you will see the re-air on CBS at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Kyle, early morning for us.
Early morning is the best way to do it. I love it. I'm you get into like the late afternoon and then it gets into evening and it's like your whole day's gone. I mean, the morning time, just knock it out, get a winner, get a champ, enjoy the rest of your Sunday, maybe grill out a little bit. I'm fired up.
I was gonna say they can get out of town, but they're not going anywhere.
That's true.
There.
That's a good point.
So they'll have some extra time to do things. In the lead, I've heard of this guy, Justin Thomas, a 2-shot lead on the field. The big storyline, I think, has to be the fact that he has now played 54 holes at Muirfield Village without a single bogey. He was the only guy to do it through 2 rounds. JT went out and did it for a third.
I mean, it's crazy. I don't care if you're playing Muirfield or Muirfield Village or Muirfield or at Colonial or Detroit. I mean, wherever. You can go play the, municipal 5 miles from my house, and to be bogey free through 54 holes is sick. And I think it speaks to, and this is something that you and I have talked about a lot, just his consistency, right? Like his consistency in every category. He's not putting that great. And this is how you put together a bogey-free 54 holes is you're not saving a bunch of stuff with the putter. You're lights out from tee to green, and your short game is phenomenal. And he's just, I don't know, he had a shot into 15 on Saturday in the third round that I don't know if you saw it, but the shot tracker on it, it looked like it was going off the property. But the way that he kind of bent it like into the green on 15, he had an eagle putt. He's an unbelievable shot shaper. So fun to watch. He's going for win number 13, Rick. That's crazy. 13 wins. I mean, and maybe I guess he seems like the old guy compared to Hovland and Morikawa, but I think we sort of underrate what 13 wins would be at the age of 27.
What's the stat where like when Spieth got to like 9 wins, Justin Thomas had like 0 or something like that, right? And now he's just absolutely lapped him.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact number.
Yeah, it's something like that though, right? He just piled them up.
Spieth won 5 in 2015.
Yeah,
and that was JT's second year on tour,
right? Something
like that. And I think JT won in like the fall of 15, or maybe it was the fall of 16. But yeah, you're right. And I said this after the Tournament of Champions when JT went ahead of him. So JT got 12, Spieth has 11. I don't think Spieth will ever lead him again.
No.
And that sounds like maybe hyperbole, although not with the way that Spieth's playing. But JT's just, I think people don't understand how competitive he is and how important it is that he's that competitive, because that's your advantage, right? Like, obviously his game's elite, but he just cares so much, sometimes too much. But I think it results in a level of consistency that you don't see from other guys.
Historically, he is carving out a spot in history that is fairly unbelievable. I mean, this would be his third win of the season, which would give him his third such season of 3 or more wins since 1970. I think there's 11 others who have done it. Basically, every single one of them is a Hall of Famer.
Yep.
And his 13th win at this age would be the second youngest to 13 since someone named Tiger Woods. It's unreal.
Who Rory was the other one?
For the youngest?
Yeah, in terms of, you said second youngest?
So yeah, oh no, sorry, he would be the second youngest. Tiger would be the only one younger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So wow. It's insane. And yeah, it's hard to know what to do with him historically, because he still only has the one major, right? He's got one PGA. I just think that, Brendan Porat tweeted this after Kapalua. He said the decade of JT begins, and that's right. Like, that is the most accurate thing, because this is going to be JT's decade. We could be sitting here in 10 years. Hopefully we're out of the pandemic by then and talking about how JT won 25 times in the decade. I mean, 20 times. I don't know what the number is, but that's how good he is from tee to green. That's how consistent he is. And I think that's how good he can be over a long period of time, I guess.
Nipping at his heels is Viktor Hovland, who is going to go into Sunday 2 shots back. He's 14 under. Thomas and Hovland are 1 and 2 in strokes gained tee to green.
Yep.
Viktor Hovland, you mentioned this on HQ just a few minutes ago. He hits shots that are so beautiful. It's almost hard to believe. The drivable par 4. He hits driver into it to 4 feet, and he hit 3-wood into it on Saturday. And he hits so many, he hits these nuclear 4 irons that almost look like they've got backspin on them when they hit the green.
It's insane. And I don't know. I mean, he had a shot into 18. His drive on 18 was off to the right in the rough. And he went after a shot on in the rough on 18 that I was worried that he injured himself, how hard he went after it. And what it creates, because of his swing, like the way his swing is, it creates so much height, so much arc on his shots that he's able to stop shots on these greens that he shouldn't be able to do. I mean, the driver on 14 on Friday, how do you stop a ball like that? I mean, it looked like he hit like a sawed off 9-iron or something. It just hits and kind of rolls out a little bit, and you're like, that's a driver from 315 away. He's first in strokes gained off the tee. Listen to this. He's gaining 5.16 strokes off the tee. Second is Sam Ryder at 3.7. So he's just, I mean, this is what he does, though. He's just destroying the field from tee to green, and especially off the tee. And I think you pointed this out on HQ. If him or JT putts at all on Sunday, they're going to have a great round, because neither one of them, I mean, they've been okay, average, maybe a little bit above average, but neither one has had a big putting day yet. So that's something to, I think, keep an eye on Sunday.
I want to argue, this would be a tough argument to make considering what we've seen from Bryson in the restart, but I want to make the argument that he's been the best player in the restart.
I love this. I think this is great.
What I think is the most important stat is strokes gained tee to green. So he's second this week behind only JT. Yep. The last 2 weeks, so it would have been Rocket Mortgage, he was first. Travelers, he was first. And then RBC Heritage and Charles Schwab, he was at worst 11th in each of he's just been unbelievable from tee to green, which I think is so critical. Now, Bryson's got the trophy. Bryson's got the win. But Hovland is I'm out of words. I'm out of words at this point.
So what you're saying is you're going to put together a power ranking for next week.
Yeah, but my rank is just going to be, since the restart, cumulative strokes gained tee to green.
That's definitely the way to do it. Don't bring any subjectivity into it at all whatsoever. You're right, though. I think it's a great point. And if you look back, I can't remember. I think it's Hovland Bryson, and Lucas Glover are the only 3 guys to finish top 25 in the first 3 events back. Now, not everybody has played all of those, obviously. Right. And somebody like Daniel Berger finished top 5 in the only events that he's played. So it's hard to measure like that against what Hovland has done. But to your point, like, he has not putted at all. I mean, do we think he can be an above average putter on the PGA Tour? Can he be a good putter, or is he going to kind of live in like not the Ben on Hideki zone, but like I don't know, who's an average putter?
Scott Stallings. No, that's just the placeholder. I don't know. Well, so I see where you're going, and I like this. And like, okay, so what skills, like, I feel like putting is a skill, or at least short game. You know, chipping is a skill that kind of develops on tour, because now you're playing on tour on specific greens all the time. You're learning. Like, remember that he's also like playing all these places for like, oh, I don't know, the first time, essentially. He's so young. Like, what happens when he banks 5 years worth of knowledge at these places? He might gain a half a stroke on the green just from the knowledge.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And if he, I mean, this is the thing, like, and this goes back to at the end of last year, somebody, I can't remember who, did a study on, because Hovland didn't I don't think he had enough rounds to like to qualify for some of the strokes gained stuff, but off the tee it was like Rory, DJ, Hovland, right? Like that was the group that he was in. That's how good he was off the tee. And if we're looking at the Bryson thing and saying, well, length and what you do off the tee is by far the most important thing on the PGA Tour in the regular season, and I think it probably is. I think most people would kind of lean that way. Then Hovland's going to be good, right? Like, no matter what he does with his putter, he's going to have weeks where he does catch a hot putter. I just wonder if he can live at like 40th or 50th on the tour in putting, because that's sort of like the Rory zone. That's like where when Rory has good years, and he's had, I think Rory is actually mostly like a pretty good putter. I think he had a couple years where he was bad, and it kind of like made people view him overall differently. But if Rory can live at 40th or 50th, he wins 3 times a year. And I almost feel the same thing about Hovland. I'm not saying that Hovland is as good as Rory, but I need you to live at like 60th, 50th, something like that on the PGA Tour in terms of putting, and you're going to be really, really good for a long time.
The most average putter on tour, Aaron Baddeley, minus 0.003 strokes gained putting. I guess he's strokes lost per round. That's 117th on tour. That's the average.
If Hovland putts like Aaron Baddeley, he's going to win like 25 majors.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. All right, we got to talk about Collin Morikawa. Obviously goes out, shoots the best round of the day on Thursday. I think tied for the best round of the day on Friday. He will be. This is the final group for Sunday, which is unbelievable. Morikawa, Hovland, and Justin Thomas. Morikawa couldn't ride the hot putter on Saturday like he's been doing for the first 2 rounds, and he was a little loose with the irons. How concerned are we here?
Yeah, I don't know. The iron play was not great. He had some bad shots. He had a shot on 17 that it was like, yikes. That was not like it wasn't an easy shot, but it wasn't difficult, and he just like completely missed the green. And so I wonder if, we discussed this a little on HQ. Is it nerves? It's got to be a little nerves, right? Like it can't just be like, oh, I'm leading this at Muirfield Village by 3 over JT. Like, I'm not feeling anything. Like, don't you think there's something there that it just feels different?
Yeah. I as unflappable as he is and as mature as he is, he's not a robot. Like, there is still situations that are going to have him thinking or are going to be in the back of his mind or whatever. And when things start, you always find when things start to go a little bit sideways. When he missed that 4-footer on, had to be 9.
It was bad.
It was like things changed, and he was very confident in the putter, and then he's probably thinking, oh boy, this is what I've done before. I better be careful here.
Yeah, he lost 1.5 strokes on approach shots on Saturday, which is, I bet he hasn't been worse. I mean, you have the numbers probably, but I bet he hasn't been worse than that in any round in his PGA Tour career so far. I know that's not a ton of rounds, it's not a ton of tournaments, but it was just not very good. I was encouraged kind of by the way he closed. I mean, he was definitely just leaking oil, and he was fighting it coming home. But he makes birdie on 18. He makes birdie on 15, the par 5. The birdie on 18 was big time. That was what was that, like a 25? No, it was like 15-foot putt. But still, that was key to get within. I mean, you're down 4 to JT going into Sunday. That's not great, you know.
He stopped the bleeding with that putt.
Yeah, for sure. So he's got a chance. That final group, I mean, I don't even know if I'm going to watch any other groups on the course. It's just going to be awesome. I can't wait.
That was his Saturday round was his 3rd worst approach round ever. Only 2 worse. All right, Kyle, I want to update our picks for Sunday. Figure this out. We'll take a look at the odds, but first we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our partners. And we're back. All right, KP, as you can imagine, Justin Thomas, the odds-on favorite to win the Workday Charity Open. He has -175. Viktor Hovland right behind at +333, so basically 3.5 to 1. And then Collin Morikawa 6 to 1. Would you like to make a pick for tomorrow's final round?
Well, I went vincecarter.gif on HQ on Friday, and I can't back off that. I'm sticking with Morikawa. Literally the only reasoning I have is because the last 2 leaders that we've had that have been leading by 3 strokes have lost, right? It was Brendan Todd, Matthew Wolff last week. So maybe JT melts down. I think JT's the type of guy where, like, if he doesn't have his stuff, like Matthew Wolff didn't have it last week. If JT doesn't have it tomorrow, he's going to be still a nightmare to deal with because he's going to be just scratching and clawing to get it to the back 9, to get it to the last couple holes, and then try to shut it down. I think that's the advantage of somebody like a JT, where he's been through these before. He knows like what you have to do. That's going to be tough to overcome for Morikawa and for Hovland.
Yeah, a 2 or 3 shot lead for Brendan Todd and Matthew Wolff feels a lot different than a 2-shot lead for Justin Thomas, unfortunately for the rest of the field. So my head certainly says, JT, congrats on number 13. We'll see you on the way to 20 or whatever. But I want so bad. My heart wants so bad for Viktor Hovland to win this. He shoots a 66 on Saturday with 2 bogeys and he can't putt. It's so good. And then as a side note, I want the Puerto Rico Open curse to end. And this is like, he's getting close every week. He could do it. This is the week. Unfortunately, JT's in his way.
I wish I loved my kids as much as you love the Puerto Rico Open curse.
The problem is once it's over, I'm done. I can't talk about it anymore.
So 2 things real quick. One, the ending's going to be awesome because 14 is probably going to be drivable. 15's awesome. It's just a really fun ending, and I hope it's close. I hope it's tight late. Number 2, JT's going to win Winged Foot. He's going to win the U.S. Open.
Yeah, probably.
Call it, walk off. And then number 3, did you see the Tony Finau swing on Twitter?
Yeah, 206 mile an hour ball speed and like a 380 carry. That's what happens when you don't cut your swing off at your shoulder.
It's Bryson's box. It's like Pandora's box. Bryson's box has been open and we can't ever go back.
Bryson, what if this turns out where all these guys are like, oh, I could just swing harder and hit it further too. Bryson just told us this and now it backfires and he never wins again because everyone else just hits it further.
That would be incredible. Rory averages like 370 next week.
Yeah, Rory's okay. Bryson, you don't think I can swing harder? Like, watch this, buddy boy. Real quick, what we've been doing is we've been trying to identify kind of plays and fades for the next day when we do these. So the formula that we've been kind of using is one that you and I talk about a lot, KP. Guys that are playing well tee to green and losing strokes putting, those guys are due for a little positive regression. The opposite, guys that are putting great but striking the ball poorly are certainly in trouble. So I've got a couple that I've pointed out. The fades, unfortunately, friend of the pod, Ian Poulter, gaining 7.7 strokes putting over the course of the week, only gaining 2 strokes tee to green. Poulter's a great putter, but that's unsustainable, my friend.
Yeah, unsustainable. I think last time I looked, he was first in the field. He's got to be first in the field. Fade for sure.
Stuart Sink was the other one. Stuart Sink has been literally like basically everything, but only his short game is gaining strokes. I think he's been losing badly off the tee, badly on approach, and he's been dominant on and around the greens, which again is something that does not trend and track day to day.
Yeah, no, it does not. The other thing that's worrisome is that we kind of referenced this earlier, but Morikawa is 6th in putting so far, which for him that's not where he exists. And so I wonder if, I don't know. I'm worried about Sunday for him.
I'm a little bit worried too. The plays in theory would be guys like Russell Henley, who has gained 7.5 strokes from tee to green. He's gained in every category except the devious strokes gained putting, where he's lost 1.7. And I can't even call him friend of the pod. I'd be so happy if we made him a friend of the pod. He's like deity of the pod, Sung J M. I don't know what to like. We have to get a name for him. Especially recently. So Saturday round gained over 3 strokes from tee to green, lost almost 3 strokes on the green. So
you can't even talk about him properly.
I get all hot and bothered.
Yeah. we can get Sung Jae on the pod, right?
Producer Jacob, we've got to get Sung Jae on the pod.
Let's get something out to his people. Get some feelers out this week.
Yeah, come on.
I mean, I know he plays like 15 hours a day, but maybe like at the turn, he can pop in for like 10 minutes or something.
Yeah, give us 10 minutes. Jacob says we'll work on it, which I feel like is just a way to like appease us so we can wrap this up, because I didn't feel like very confident about that response from producer Jacob. All right, KP, it's going to be a good one. Reminder again, it is an early day tomorrow. Action will be streaming on cbssports.com and CBS Sports mobile app for free. You're able to watch the CBS stream for free starting at 11 a.m. Eastern. That broadcast is available on cbssports.com, CBS Sports mobile app, and CBS Sports app on OTT devices. Those are Apple TV, Roku, and Fire TV. Then, if you want to watch it, the re-air, 3 o'clock Eastern on CBS. Kyle Porter, final words. How awesome is our Sunday final group?
Well, I don't even have the words. It's incredible. It's a fiesta. I tweeted that out. It's a ball striking fiesta. Should be a blast. JT's going to be awesome. And I think it's going to be good for Hovland and Morikawa to be around that for 18 holes, to see, again, I talked about this with Wolf last week. What does it feel like? What does it feel like on a Sunday? They felt it a little bit, but to be with JT and to be in the final group with JT where you're trying to win the tournament, that's going to be a different experience, and it'll set them up nicely for their singles match at the 2021 Ryder Cup at Whistling Straits.
From your mouth to the golf god's ears, my man. I would love that. All right, that'll do it. Kyle Porter, find him on Twitter at Kyle Porter CBS. You can find me on Twitter at Rick Run Good. This has been The First Cut. We'll catch you next time.